you wrote that 25% of Americans suffer from some form of mental illness. And then you wrote, you included a quote from the former director of the NIMH. And I wanted to read what he said, because this was a man who led this health organization for, I think, what was it, over a decade or so?
This
And
is, you're talking about Thomas Insel, and he was director of the NIMH, I believe, from 2002 to 2015.
right. And he said basically whatever we've been doing for five decades, it ain't working. And so here was someone who was, a member, a leader in the psychological community, and he basically said there's just no evidence to support that what we've been doing for 5 decades is effective. And that's profound, I think. And I wonder what you agree with that, I assume.
Right. That was the starting point of this book, to kind of get across to people. There's some really more radical or kind of marginalized, views of like what's problematic about psychiatry. But at the very top, you can't be more of an establishment psychiatrist than the director of the National Institute of Mental Health. This is like sort of the king of psychiatry,
Right.
and they're the ones that are doling out billions of dollars a year in research. And here you have establishment psychiatry figure Insel, who's saying that, yeah, if you take a look at our outcomes, and he went specifically, he talked about suicide and hospitalizations and morbidity, that he used words like bleak, and he used words like abysmal. So part of what I try to get across to folks is that if you take a look at even establishment psychiatry, a lot of these guys, some of the most important aspects of psychiatry have been complete, to use his word, abysmal failures. And not only the outcome measures, okay, but also their chemical imbalance theory of mental illness that we've been hearing about forever, that too little serotonin causes depression, too much dopamine causes schizophrenia. This has been now jettisoned by at the very top of establishment psychiatry, and their diagnostic manual, their DSM diagnostic manual, has been declared invalid also by Insel, way over a decade ago. So this is part of the starting point of this book here. The idea that psychiatry itself has been a failure is not a radical notion, all right?